Good morning and welcome to the AM News here on the AM Show. Our very first story: do not allow the pain of losing an election to influence the suspicion of cheating. Those are words of President Akufo-Addo to disappointed presidential aspirants on the continent. His emphatic elections through the ballot box represents the surest way of deepening democracy on the continent, insisting no amount of justification can be accepted for military takeovers. Addressing the ongoing ECOWAS Parliament Forum at Winneba in the Central Region, the president called on member states to respect democratic institutions and also urged support for elected governments to work.
There will always be winners and losers in an election. That is the system of governance we in West Africa subscribe to. It is painful enough to lose an election. I can testify to that. But the pain should not come with the suspicion of having been cheated. The authority of any elected public officer is vested in the people, and this can only be legitimately exercised through free, fair, and credible elections. That is why, having dedicated nearly half a century of my life fighting for the entrenchment of democratic values in Ghana's body politic, the accession to power by any other means other than the ballot box remains for me wholly unacceptable, no matter the ostensible justification. I'm convinced that we will continue to improve on our electoral systems and processes. Out of duty towards our children and grandchildren, we must not give up when it comes to guaranteeing the integrity of the electoral process and consolidating peace through the establishment of accurate electoral registers, the due validation of candidatures, the material organizations of the ballots, and the proclamations of authentic results.
Now, if you are one of those overwhelming majority of Ghanaians in full support of the bill to outlaw homosexuality in Ghana, there's a warning from the majority leader in Parliament. Oseche Mensah Bonsu argues that the bill risks suffering an inevitable premature death unless proponents surrender it to the Attorney General. The majority says the public must cut out sentiments and emotions from the raging debate around the bill, while questioning threats about the clergy about consequences at the polls for politicians who speak or vote against the bill. Mr. Mensah Bonsu has been explaining his position to Evans Mensah in this interview for PM Express.
Ghanaians have our own unique upbringing, our own set of values. You know what is right and what is wrong. We distinguish what is right from what is wrong. So we know what is right by our own upbringing. I belong to the Assemblies of God Church. I'm a Christian. I will not pretend that my upbringing has not been impacted by Christianity. Equally so for my colleagues who are Muslims. They come from various ethnic backgrounds and brought up traditionally and culturally within the context of Ghanaian upbringing. So we know what is right and we know what is wrong. And I'm not too sure that I know of any ethnic group in this country that applauds what discussion is going on. But unfortunately, we are introducing into this discourse emotions and sentiments, which I think is very much unnecessary, with all the threats that are being poured into the arena.
Which threats?
Oh, people saying that we'll chase members of parliament with buttons and cudgels if they don't pass this law and so on. I think
we'll put you out?
It's not necessary. Is it the case that, and people, somebody was even saying that, oh, we should telecast the discourse so people get to know who will be voting against what and so on. It means, you see, the people, some of them, they're not even following the conduct of business in Parliament. There's never been an occasion when in the consideration of any bill, we've shrouded it in secrecy. Everything is done in the open. And for those of them who are saying that, then we'll know who voted against the bill and so on and so forth. When at any stage do we vote on a bill? The only time that we take a major vote on the bill is when we pass it through what is called the second reading. It is there that the principles of the bill are elucidated on by the sponsors of the bill, usually from the executive, from government, or ministries, departments, agencies, right? Then the committee that the matter has been referred to would have gone to analyze the bill, listen to stakeholders, and from that and the memorandum, the accompanying memorandum, they'll come with a report. The report will tell us of the constitutionality of the bill, the purpose of the bill, what mischief has been identified, and the cure that is proposed to address the mischief, right? So when we have done that debate at that level, it is only at that time that a major vote is cast on the principles. And if you and I agree that no ethnic group in this country applauds this, why should anybody have any fear that any member of parliament is going to vote against the principles of the bill?
That is Majority Leader Chairman Zabonsu there. So will the proponents of the bill surrender to the President and his Attorney General? Will they save it? Sam George is a lead sponsor of the bill.
The Speaker has the powers to say to the Business Committee, I want a report on this matter within 48 hours. And the Business Committee will oblige and present to the House a report in that time frame. The Speaker has the authority to state that I want the committee's report in 2 weeks. And the Business Committee will be obliged to carry out the instructions of the Speaker. So when he says that the Speaker cannot set timelines, again, that is a misrepresentation of the standing orders and the procedure of Parliament. And I mean, for me, I really do not get what this whole jittery nature about this bill is. I mean, I have tried my best and I continue to maintain that this bill is apolitical. I see a very nuanced gesture to introduce partisan politics in here. I mean, in the last 48 hours, he's held a press conference on a bill he has not read. He's granted an interview to you on a bill he has not read. He's passing value judgment on a bill he has not read. I mean, if Honorable Osaiche Mensah Bonso has any inputs to make into the bill, it will have his opportunity to have his stay on the floor of the House during the second consideration stage.
Some George, to the substantive matter he raises about this bill imposing cost on the consolidated fund, to your bill, I'm quoting from the memo. You say the bill, quote, simultaneously extends opportunities to access to medical and psychological support to affected persons to take advantage of those opportunities and to facilitate their integration into the larger society. Who bears this cost?
Civil society, private medical practice.
Not the state.
So absolutely not. If you say that the bill should not have any cost element whatsoever, when you pass a private member's bill, the Attorney General would definitely have to do a legal opinion to the government or to the President before he appends his signature or assents to it. Is that also not supposed to be cost? Is that not, even if he sends an email, that data is going to be paid for by the state. If he prints it on paper, it is going to be by the state. So if you go along those lines, then you can never have a private member's bill.
Well, Mr. John,
the Constitution is not ambiguous here when it says who will make that determination.
Yeah,
it says the opinion of the person presiding.
Mr. John, just for the sake of time, the majority leader is clear that you need to surrender this to the presidency and to the Attorney General for this to have any chance of real success long term. Are you ready to get the state to take this over?
Unfortunately, that won't happen. Parliament is in the process of its deliberation, and like I said, these are early days. But maybe the majority leader should go and find out from the Attorney General if we reached out to them in the preparation of this bill and what was their response at the time. That response does not engender any hope or trust from my end and my colleagues.
It is emerging that some members of Ghana's parliament behind the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021 may be at the receiving end of alleged tough diplomatic decisions by some Western countries promoting homosexuality rights in Ghana. The Antigay bill, sponsored by 8 MPs, has generated controversy, with sections of the diplomatic community being accused of threatening those pushing the bill with visa sanctions. There's more in this News Desk report.
When I was growing up, nobody talked about homosexuality. Everyone who was gay suffered enormous discrimination. I hope that within the next decade or so that every Ghanaian, regardless of sexual orientation, will enjoy the same rights and be treated the same.
Those are the words of the immediate past U.S. ambassador to Ghana, championing homosexuality rights as a key foreign policy issue 3 years ago. The Australian High Commissioner, Gregory Andrews, sought audience with the Speaker of Parliament to push the agenda.
For Australia, we would really encourage Ghana's Parliament not to pass legislation that would discriminate against the LGBT community or remove their human rights, or to ban or make it illegal for people to advocate for their human rights. We would find that disappointing.
But this was shot down.
We cannot be threatened in our homes. This must be stated loud and clear to those who have come to do business in Ghana, those who represent their countries and think that they are right. They can never dictate to us as to how to live or not to live in this world. The Parliament of Ghana will pass this bill.
In fact, after an altercation at the Accra Sports Stadium with anti-gay bill sponsor and Ningo Prampram legislator Sam George, the Australian representative is alleged to have threatened the MP with visa restrictions.
He came and accosted me and threatened me that I would never get a visa to any European country. Then I said to him, well, he's in Ghana and I will not be threatened.
Well, it is emerging that these threats are allegedly being actualized, as sources say MPs already risk bearing the brunt of the angry Western powers by way of visa denials. A senior member of the governing NPP, Dr. Arthur Kennedy, is on record to have alluded to this already having happened in writing. But Minister of Parliamentary Business and Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu, who says he is yet to be informed about these threats, insists it would be a futile exercise.
If Parliament decides, all of us decides, that this should be the way, and the world is saying that, well, we are against Ghana for this, then all of us are going to have to suffer for it. It's not going to be one person being a matter in this.
Only time will tell whether indeed Ghana is set on a collision course with powerful Western countries, and whether the nation will pander to their whims and caprices.
Now, drivers and passengers who use the main Circle Lorry station are calling for the immediate construction of a dedicated toilet facility in the yard. A visit by the Joy Clean Ghana team to the station, which serves as a transit point for thousands of people daily, revealed how both passengers and drivers are forced to use a makeshift urinal. That's not all. They have to cross the main road to access a public toilet. Manuel Kranting was with the team, and he now reports.
What you are saying is what I don't want to listen, because you still use the facility.
Heated exchanges between AMA sanitation officers and a urinal operator at the main bus terminal of the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. The washroom in question is the only functioning place of convenience in the yard, serving tens of thousands of passengers and drivers who use the station as a transit point.
Where is your toilet facility for here? In case a passenger gets here and then he has a problem and he wants to attend nature's call, where does he go? Because you are supposed to have that here.
Yes, these ones even were made by ourselves. When the station was rehabilitated, they didn't provide those things. Well, across the road, there are 2 toilets there. For here, we don't have it.
It has become breeding grounds for diseases and attacks patrons with a pungent smell. A recent head of Environmental Health Unit of the AMA, Joseph Asitanga, ordered its closure.
These are urinals both for gents and then ladies. The stench that is coming out from here is so unbearable, and they take 20 pesos upon urinal. Any individual who comes to urinate here, 20 pesos. Let's multiply the population per day, per the transit of passengers here, that you sit here to take money, and you cannot use and keep this place tidy. And you expect us to allow you to continue operating this urinal. So you can, the cameraman should shoot here and see. You take money economically, make profit, and you feel like you are making the profit and nobody cares to come here. I will not manage the place. I won't keep the place in order.
But the operator of the facility disagreed with the directive. She denied any wrongdoing.
Daddy,
Daddy, we have been cleaning this place. We have a chemical that we use to clean this place every single morning. In fact, I clean this place to the extent that one gentleman asked me why I like to work so much. So it's not as if we don't clean here. We actually do.
While this progresses, passengers and drivers alike who use the park want the immediate construction of a proper toilet facility for them.
Is here big station but no toilet? Step out too much, unless we go to the roadside.
We are really suffering. We have to cross the road all the way to the other side before we can get a public toilet. They should help build one here for us.
It's very difficult for us here. There's no place of convenience for us. We have to cross the road before we get a place to ease ourselves. The authorities must help us to get a dedicated toilet facility here.
They have to help us and as you get one toilet at this station. If you want to do toilet, you have to cross the road before you go to toilet. So you are begging them to find toilet here for us.
And that's it for the AM News. But of course, the AM show continues, and we're diving straight into the newspapers with Israel Lai and myself. Stay tuned in.